what was it that inspired you to open in New Braunfels, and why not Austin?
Sure. So this question has been asked of me before, and it's an interesting story because I originally had a psychic reading that told me that I would move to Austin and open an apothecary. And I moved to Austin within 2 months of this reading. I'd never had a psychic reading before, and it was so profound. And I was at a point in my life where I felt like a big change was coming. So I found myself in Austin and realized that I no longer was aligned with the big city life, and I wanted to slow down personally and explore some other towns around the Austin area. So I actually lived in San Marcos, and I would frequent New Braunfels and started to build a community here in New Braunfels, realizing that they didn't have anything like what my shop offers. So I wanted to bring this to the community here, and everything kind of just lined up for it to happen. And that's how I've been here with my storefront for over 4.5 years.
Wow, that's a long time.
Yeah.
Do you feel like this is a question that's off here, but everybody's talking about the growth here and how it's starting to become a problem, I guess. But do you feel like it's affected your business, good or bad?
I would say that it has affected my business for the good. I think that there have been a lot of people who have come here for various reasons, like a partner's job, their job, or maybe they're just moving back to their hometown to be by family, and they have expressed that they're grateful that something like this exists in this area so that they can find a community and find their people. So I do feel that it has been good for us. We don't, we don't care where people have come from. I do believe like everyone ends up where they are for a reason. So it has benefited us. We have not had any issues with like parking all the way down this way yet. I mean, there have been a lot of things I feel like we have kind of dodged as far as what other businesses in the main downtown area have dealt with. So for us, it's been a benefit to have more people because that opens up to different types of people and different ways of life.
That's good. Yeah. Do you feel like, I guess this is mainly retail, but it sounds like it's also really relationship based or connection based.
Yes, absolutely. I think that that comes through because of an intention that I've set for building a community. And when I lived in Seattle, I was part of a different kind of community. And we, I think, just appeal to people who are looking for alternative ways to connect with people, but definitely an emotional kind of place. People bring their hardships, they bring, their joys, everything that is happening in their life, and they will share that information with us in confidence. And then we can help them to kind of unravel and find a solution, or maybe even just something to comfort or help them through a transition. So it has become a place where most retail shops, I don't think, have that same kind of customer interaction. Mm-hmm. So we're wanting to. If I didn't need to sell anything, then I wouldn't. I would, if we could just help people and really provide like a support in a way. So I could definitely see it being more than just selling
the transaction.
Goods. Yeah, it's not a transaction. I mean, these are relationships that we're building that are long term, and we see people go through ups and downs in life, and we're part of that.
That's really beautiful.
Thank you. Yeah, I could have never imagined what it would grow to be.
Yeah. What has been your biggest takeaway from your years in business?
So I'd say the biggest takeaway, keeping things simple. I think that when you find your niche or your thing that you're doing, so just take that and run with it, because there's no point if you're already putting yourself out there. Like, don't stay small. Like, really express what it is that you want to bring to the world, to the community, for yourself, because if we are kind of just appeasing what we think everyone wants, then no one's really satisfied. But if we feel as business owners like a real passion to bring a certain particular thing, and then we see people showing up, kind of coming out of the woodworks, I think that's what really appeals, is like that passion behind what you're doing, and then you find others have that same passion, and then they can kind of feel like they're at home here. And the other thing really is just like building up a strong team that supports your mission, and having people who are aligned with your goals and what you want to provide for the community. So I do find myself being kind of like a gatekeeper of our community, and making sure that even when we host workshops, I meet with everyone who would be hosting those to make sure that they are in alignment and not kind of altering what it is that we're offering in a way that doesn't align.
Okay. I really like what you said about passion, because I feel like that's why people come to you. Like, there might be other shops maybe in 5 or 10 years, but I think your passion is what makes people come back to you. Does that make sense?
Yeah. I think so. And I hope that now that we are busier and we're growing, I'm not in front of the customer as much as I used to be, or as much as I'd like to be. But I do think that what fuels it is the ideas that I've brought through, and hope to translate to my employees, who they can bring that out into the world and our Empress community here in New Braunfels as well. So I do think that people, I've shared different things about myself along my path, and the business really started 8.5 years ago, before I had the storefront, and made so many connections. And I think that people, when they can see themselves in you, then they can relate, and they know that there's integrity, and there's an ethical practice, and there's a reason behind what we're doing. And it's not just about selling shiny, sparkly things, although that could get people in the door, but they might start realizing that it's a journey, and we want to offer tools to aid in that journey, so people can feel comforted and supported and guided through.
Yeah, good. Okay, next question. How do you deal with the stigma around spirituality, and how do you deal with naysayers?
Sure. I basically ignore them. Every time something pops up where people are, wanting to kind of like shut us in a negative light, we just keep doing what we're doing. Every time that happens too, we gain more customers, because more people find out about us because of like the hype or the drama. And personally, for my own peace, I don't give in to that. I don't fight. I don't want to be the center of attention. I do feel like we're just quietly doing what we do, and if others don't like that, then they're really just showing us who they are. Mm-hmm. And so I just ask that people come and see for themselves. It's like, we are not doing anything harmful here, and that's part of why I do check on like every part of the business to make sure that we don't like gossip, we don't like rumors, any of that kind of stuff. We just don't partake in. So I think that personally, I'll feel it, because I'm very deeply connected to my business, and I built this from the ground up. I started the business with $700, and just kept funneling it back in and making it grow organically. And no one can stop that but me. And so it doesn't impact our business in a negative way, except for I might feel like, like why are people bullying me, or why, and those are just things that I work through, and they make me stronger. So it really hasn't been, we have such a big community, even if it's unseen, that the support just like floods in if something like that is public. And so, I think it's actually shedding light on why we need to be here.
Okay, that's powerful. Yeah. I really like how you said that it's a more of a reflection on them, because we get a lot of negative. And I mean, we have a lot of people that call us and they're like, I'm coming for your business and da da da. Da. But really, they're unhappy about the situation of going to jail, not our business. I mean, even if we did somehow make a mistake, it's like you just kind of have to keep going. Like you can't stop. You've got the bills to pay and the lights to turn on and stuff like that.
Yeah, and there's no way as a business owner to completely take emotion out of it, but it does strengthen me. I'm careful to not let it harden me, because some of the people who have kind of like poked at us like that, I'll see them out in the wild, at the coffee shops or whatever, and it's unfortunate because that I think keeps their community small when you're leading with hate, and so it's more powerful to just continue to shine who you are and just keep going at it, because this is our livelihood for one thing, and if one person thinks they can tear that down, then they sound absolutely miserable that they're focused on someone else's dream and not their own reality of what they might be able to fix in their own lives to become happy.
Yeah, that's good. What has been your biggest blessing since opening?
I would say it's the people. I mean, it's the people who show up and the conversations that are had in this house. And there's nothing like it. I couldn't have imagined the amount of people this would reach. When I started my business, it was like I thought I would just work by myself and just like have this small business, and it has grown to the point where I have several employees, and I love that I can pull them out of corporate America, and they can come somewhere and slowly dissolve and unlearn some of those structures that have been put in place to keep them small, and really just empower my team and my community to find their gift and take that and run with it. I have had several employees start their own small businesses as a result of inspiration from what we have here. And so I encourage that and give my employees coaching sessions if they need that for starting up their business. And I think that's the biggest blessing, is just like watching people grow.
Yeah, like I think as small business owners, it is kind of our duty to lift people up. And that starts inside our doors, I feel the same way about my employees too. Like at first I just hired a team because I needed help. I mean, I was in the weeds, and now I feel like I'm lifting them up. I'm empowering them, kind of like you said.
Yeah. Exactly. And that's even if I don't get to interact with all of the customers that I used to, my interactions with my team have been the thing that fills me up, to feel like I'm making an impact, and that's trickling out into other places.
Business owner to business owner, what are some rocky parts of the job, and how do you manage them?
Well, where to begin? So I think, I did mention like not having like the same structures as a corporation, but we do need to have some order. And I think coming up with your system of how things are going to run, because it shifts all the time. So we have to reorganize, even just with our space, we have to reorganize to make more space and get creative with things. But I think figuring out what everyone's role is, it's really like, I'd say the biggest struggle can be even just managing all of the personalities of my team, and just making a positive work environment where people can thrive and feel like they're themselves, but also be following some procedures. And so coming up with those things, usually the way that I make them better is by having something happen that feels like a setback and say, okay, I need to spend some energy and some time focusing on this area of the business to make it better. And so anytime something that is like hard or a struggle comes along, it does make us stronger, but it feels uncomfortable. And for me personally, just like making sure that I fill my own cup and take care of myself at the end of the day so that I don't take those things home, because it's really hard to have that separation, because I don't clock out.
Yep.
And to have even just a completely whole day off feels strange. And so I think that's part of the struggle, is finding the balance of when I can do these things and when I need to shut that down and be doing something in nature or with my family. You know, it's a balance. And I'd say that's been the hardest thing, is not taking like the pressures home, because we could have 10 things go wrong in one day, and I'm the go-to. I'm the answering all of the questions. And little secret out there for non-business owners, we don't know what we're doing all the time. We have to figure it out as we go. And that is hard. It challenges me, but it also makes my life richer, because I have all of these like new tools that I wouldn't have otherwise needed to learn. And so I try to pivot it and look at it as like, I'm growing, the business is growing, and these are growing pains. But there are things outside of my control, like the internet's down or whatever it may be. There's a flash flood warning, no one's coming to the shop. Like we just have to pivot. And my business really gained momentum during 2020 in the pandemic year. And so I like to say, like, I thrive in the chaos, but I also don't want to take that home with me. I want it to be calm. And so I do find that, like, my home, I don't have a television. There's, it needs to be peaceful so that I can have a balance and then come to work, because you never know what the day's going to bring.
I really like what you said about managing the personalities of your employees, because that's what I'm learning as myself, where I am at in my stage of my business, because you kind of have to, you can't, everybody's different, and you can't put somebody in a box. You kind of have to like play to that person's strengths and weaknesses. And I think that that's going to make them a better employee too.
Absolutely. And that's why too, my team, everybody starts off as a sales associate, and then we find what it is that what's their groove. And then I'm like, hey, let's have you be doing this more, because I want you to feel like you're thriving, because you will get the creative flow coming if you're doing something that you enjoy, and you'll just make that better and better. But if you come in thinking you don't want to do this thing every day, then you're not going to be happy, and then that's going to bleed out to the other staff members and our customers. And I really don't want, the point of this place is to bring joy. It's not to bring anyone down, but the end of the day, like, someone still needs to tag all the bracelets or put the stickers on the bags, you know, like there's those little things. So we try to split it up, and we all take a piece in that kind of thing. Like, no one's just doing all the boring stuff and someone's doing all the fun. We find everyone's skill set and then highlight that, and then we all do everything that it takes to keep the shop running from day to day.
I also like what you said about finding a balance, and that you're like, you thrive in chaos, because I feel like that's probably a universal experience of any business owner.
Absolutely.
I know that that's been my experience. My business is, my family is involved in my business, so it's even harder for me, I think, to unplug. I feel like I always have to be connected some way, somehow. But also I thrive in chaos, and I don't think before owning a business, I don't think that was my personality.
Right.
And I think it's such a challenging and dynamic experience to own a business. You kind of have to adapt, and you have to roll with the punches. And I also like what you said about, we don't have all the answers. Like, personally, the girls will tell you, they're like, I don't know how you do everything. And I'm like, I don't either, caffeine. I don't know. Like, I'm also kind of figuring it out as I go. Yeah.
And I think it's really inspiring for them to see that because, when we're kids and we see our parents doing all the things, it's also helped me to realize, oh, they didn't know what they were doing either. They had to figure it out as situations came up. But we put a lot of responsibility on that person who is like the leader. But it really takes an entire team to make anything work, a family, a business. And so and I utilize my team for things. Like, I don't try to act like I know everything. I think that's a really hard way to be in the world. I think it's very isolating. I've seen people do that and go that route. And, I want my team to know, like, they can always come to me and we'll find a solution for things. And so I think that it's actually empowering to say, I don't know. And now I'm going to learn about this.
It's like an opportunity. It's an opportunity to learn. Yeah.
Yeah. And then we get better because then it's like, oh, I've seen this situation come up before and this is how I handled it and it went terribly. So we're not going to do that. Or maybe you did find the right way at the beginning. And so you keep using that until it doesn't work. But there's never going to be just like a set, like, I'm done. And I think I've realized that this is the longest that I've ever stayed with a company, and it happens to be my company because I always wanted to learn and grow and do more. And I felt that internal desire to like really create. And so I would like move up quickly in a business and then be like, okay, now I'm moving on to do this thing. And this will never get old. It's never just, if it ends up feeling stagnant, that's a problem, And so I have to look at it a different way and say that these are the ways that the business is growing. And sometimes I just feel like I'm along for the ride and it has its own soul and it's just bringing me as like the person to do the work to get it out there. But I will say it's very exhausting, and who I am as a person has changed over the years. And I've had to grow a thicker skin and set better boundaries and find like an inner warrior in order to handle the capacity of how much can be thrown at me in a short period of time. That feels like no human person should have to deal with this kind of stress. But to unravel it and make it happen regardless, and do it scared or nervous or whatever, but knowing that I'm doing the best that I can and with the information that I have, and also having like a team of like, healers and therapists and all the people where it's like, if I need to go get a massage, like I have all my resources for when I'm like, oh, I'm kind of feeling overloaded. I need to like get some help.
Yeah. What would you say keeps you coming back?
I think that it is personal dream keeps coming back for me is the freedom of one day I can live in the middle of nowhere and have chickens and land and just be quiet and peaceful. And I think that's part of the inspiration for me, because I just recently started visualizing that, because the way that I lived my life before was broke, paycheck to paycheck. And so now I can see that I deserve to have a home where I feel safe. I deserve to have a lifestyle that suits my nervous system. And so those are my personal goals. And they're not extravagant. They're pretty simple, but it used to sound outlandish because I was like, how could I ever get to that point? But the other thing that keeps me coming back is, like, once again, the community. And I feel so connected to my journey and like how this is even manifested, because sometimes I'm still in disbelief that this is my shop. I feel like I'm kind of in like a shock even to this day of like, you're doing this, because my belief in myself before this happened was close to none. I mean, this has been an epic journey of self-discovery and self-love, because if I give up, I'm telling myself that I'm not worthy of living my dream. And if I give up, then it's where will all these people go? They will figure it out, but they don't need us. But we have become a point of where you can meet your people, and I would never want to show that and create that and then take it away. So I do feel like, even if I have to give myself a pep talk or listen to affirmations in the morning before I come in, after a hard day, like the refresher of no, we got this, usually comes in the morning with a cup of coffee and some inspiration. And then sometimes I get here and I'm like, wow, everything's going smooth. And sometimes I get here and I'm like, oh yeah, that's why I wanted to stay in bed today, because it's just one thing after another. And, but I'm starting to realize that that's just part of business ownership, and there's no avoiding that. And there should probably be a support system for business owners in this town and everywhere.
I would love that, honestly. Not even like a networking group, because there's so many networking groups, and I don't ever feel like I can contribute or they can contribute to me. But yeah, like a community of business owners. Mm-hmm. I think that, that would be amazing if we had that. Last question. How do you feel you gain notoriety, and what advice would you give to other businesses also trying to build?
Sure. So I think that, for one thing, having your branding down, just getting involved with whatever you can, asking someone to come do an interview, that kind of thing is the actual footwork of networking in your area and getting people to know who you are and know that you're a resource for whatever you're doing is really important. And then also, just showing up. I think social media presence has been really wonderful for our business growth. We do have an online website that has been taking off in the last year or so, and that is amazing to me, because we're just in this town in Texas and we have shipments going out all over the place weekly. Okay. And so I think that, to be honest, I don't even know how it happened. I think slowly over time it builds. It wasn't like I had a marketing plan and we went for it. I have some cool people who help us with social media, and they have ideas we sometimes can't keep up with, even messages or things like TikTok, Instagram. I mean, there's so much, and that is not my thing. I love crystals, I'm a crystal girly, so I'm I want to be as far away from computers and phones and technology as possible, but it has been a massive resource for getting our name out there and making connections. And I will say, all publicity, it turns out, is good publicity. Mm-hmm. So I do think that, although I would prefer to stay out of any scandals, I felt kind of at one point a deer, just wandering and being I don't think I'll set up here, and no one warned me oh, they're gonna be coming for you. And then once we were settled in and already had the strength of a community behind us, and people kind of started hearing about us that are not our customer base, and they might be praying outside of our shop or sending us death threats or whatever it may be that makes them feel better about our existence. I think those things, people are wait, what? There's a witch shop in New Braunfels? So I think that will be something that I just accept as part of the day-to-day if those kind of things are going to happen. It's not very frequently. I think that people kind of get shut down because our community will come out of the woodworks and stand up for what they know is right, and help protect us in a way. Although I don't feel like we need that. I think a lot of people are just a lot of talk, and what can they do? But I do think that meeting other business owners is helpful. I know that I try to use local businesses for things that we need in the shop as much as possible. I set up at artisan markets when I first started my business, and I met a lot of people that way. And I also think just like consistency and keeping up with the quality of your service or product, and just really like grounding into your space and letting that be known that you're there, people will show up. And especially if your intentions are pure and they're not just driven by greed, I think that whatever is meant to happen will. But I think, did I answer your question right?
No, that was your answer was beautiful.
Okay, yeah. So I think that, just like getting yourself out there. I know that I tend to be more introverted these days because of like the high volume of people that come into the shop from a day-to-day, where I am energetically sensitive. So I find I do need to hibernate at the end of the day. And but I do end up, when I go places, I run into someone everywhere I go. So no pajamas at HEB for me, but that's a small price to pay to having a successful business that, and people are generally excited, if they're like, hey, like you own the Empress, and I want to make those connections. I want people to feel comfortable enough to come up and talk to me, because I don't want to feel isolated from people. It's like the difference between a small business owner and their customer is that maybe the like stress levels or like the but I want to feel included with everyone. I do feel like sometimes I can feel kind of separate from, and sometimes that's intentional because I have to get stuff done. But I'd rather be like frolicking and having a enjoyable time at the farmers market, or going and just enjoying the community that we have here, because I don't think that ultimately like our community in New Braunfels in general is bad or negative. I think there's a few people who really want to try to make a name for themselves and will piggyback off of our like Instagram following so they can try to get more people. And, we just don't partake in that kind of thing. I really want to feel like I'm included and part of this. And there's no reason for me not to be. And I think what I hear frequently from our, especially women who live here, that they feel separate from a lot of the New Braunfels community for whatever reason. And so I don't want us to shrink. I want us to be ourselves and be out there and inspire others, because I think that there's a lot of people who are just going with the masses or the flow so that they can feel accepted, but I don't know that they're truly expressing who they really are, because when you truly express who you are inside, you're sending out love and positivity and connection and all of those things that we are inherently made of. And so let those things shine, let them come through so that you can find your people. And when people are like ugly towards us, like they've just outed themselves as not a safe person. Like, well, you don't want us, we don't want you. That's totally fine. You do your thing, we'll do our thing over here, but we will be who we are and authentic.
That's awesome. What has been your experience as a woman-owned business? Have you had any challenges, or do you think it would have been easier if you were a male? Or
I think that I would never trade that for the world. I think it's even more empowering to be a female lead in especially a kind of like conservative town, New Braunfels, Texas. I think that it has been very empowering for me to do it anyways, and not fit into like the like if a man made this shop happen, it would maybe not have the emotional connections that we make. It maybe wouldn't have a lot of like the softness and the like we will mold and form and create. Because that's what women are inherently like here to do. We create, and so I think it's actually been better as a result. But I there have been times where I feel like I've had to maybe prove myself a little bit to like contractors or other business people that I've dealt with, which has made me better at my boundaries. That's made me I think been taken more seriously. And those are skills that I had to hone in on. They weren't like, I'm just going to show up and be ready for this. It was like the business molded me into a powerful human to be able to do what I would need to do here. What I feel like I've been kind of almost sent on a mission in a way of like, I'll come here and create this. And I couldn't really tell you why it is here exactly, but with our feedback and reaction from others, I know it was just meant to be exactly how it is, like a woman lead. And, I have one male employee who happens to be my husband, and he just like, he helps to make us stronger by doing, some of the more physical labor that I used to do all on my own or hire someone to do. But what feels very good for me is that it will get done no matter what, because I have resources, because the community built the business, and with their money and their opinions and creative ideas. But we will survive no matter what. If the business needs to morph or change in any direction, it will be based off of what's the highest good for everyone involved.
I like that. I like that a lot. So that's all my questions. How can we support you? How can we help get your name out there?
Yeah, I'd love to just, talk about the website. If you're reaching out, your following is not local, and our website is theempresstexas.com. So it's Texas spelled out. So theempresstexas.com. We also have a newsletter. I mean, people can be involved in our community by following our social media, the Empress NBTX on Instagram. We also have a TikTok page. Like we have avenues to connect out there, but also just coming into the shop and checking it out. We do artisan markets where we pull in local artists to sell what they make or do. And we'd love to see, new faces. I mean, it's just a beautiful way for the community to kind of come out and support each other locally. And we do have a summer night market coming up in June. And then we always have our All Hallows Artisan Market in October. So that'll be the first Saturday in October this year. So really just any way to come out and support, check out what we're doing, share it with a friend who might be interested. I feel like everybody has like a crystal friend in their life. So yeah, I think just word of mouth has been really helpful. And yeah, I think that just helping it grow by just sharing, what we did here. I hope it helps someone, or just gets somebody in our door who we can help in person. And yeah, thank you so much for reaching out and wanting to do the interview and just chat more. It's always lovely to just connect with another business owner in town and see different perspectives and make us feel like we're part of something bigger here.